Suppose this is the kind of thing that was expected to happen at some point, but I'm surprised it happened so fast. Nobody really thought Duck Dynasty was going away. The show is too valuable to A&E, and it's too valuable to the Robertson family. But it's interesting that it only took about a week between the time the suspension was announced and now the time that it's lifted.
It shows you, we saw Cracker Barrel do this. They pulled
Yes.
Duck Dynasty merchandise and very quickly, after getting so much reaction from people, put it back in. And we also were seeing that A&E, while they had suspended Phil Robertson, were running marathons of episodes.
High-rated marathons.
High-rated marathons for hours and hours over this holiday week with Phil Robertson in it.
There probably is room for a little cynicism about this, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is what's most important. And this is a very lucrative show. I mean, A&E, once again, in this statement, took the chance to say, they reiterate that these are not views we hold, but then they continue on by saying, Duck Dynasty is not a show about one man's views. They go on, kind of defending, basically pre-defending their decision to bring him back.
You heard a lot of gay rights groups who were very upset over his comments. Is this a defeat for them?
I think we will hear from them later today, and I have a feeling that they would be very disappointed by this because they interpreted this as a big victory last week when they were able to have him suspended. The same is true for some civil rights groups that spoke out about his comments about African Americans. If I'm one of those group leaders, though, I probably have a feeling in the back of my head that this show wasn't going to disappear. It was simply too valuable.
Do you think that part of the reason this is happening is because this sort of happens? He was talking about the Bible, his interpretation. He was talking about this in the context of his religion and how he understood homosexuality. And it was he made comments about race, but these comments about homosexuality, I think, really did grab a lot of the attention as well.
Yeah.
Do you think that if this didn't have anything to do with religion, these were just blanket statements that he made, that this would have been different? That in a way that added some a different element to this of religious freedom?
It did. It made a lot more people upset with A&E's decision. I've said before, I think they were in an impossible position. There was no good choice they were able to make here because they were going to upset some group of people either way. But especially around the Christmas holiday, with people getting together for dinner, talking about this. I think there's a lot of religious people from all different points of view that were bothered by this for various reasons. And because it involves religion, it made it harder for A&E.
You're a social media guru, and social media played a big part in this.
It did.
How important was that, do you think, in, I guess, the initial reaction and then now this development?
Duck Dynasty was trending for days. I mean, it was the best publicity that A&E could buy for this show. Even though it may make A&E look bad in the short term, it was great press for the show. And of course, now we're going to see tons of reaction to this as well, now that they've reversed. Here was my favorite tweet so far. It was from a TV critic who wrote, quote, "Conservative groups will pretend A&E caved to their pressure. A&E just caved to the pressure of the almighty dollar." That's what kind of feels most true to me right now, although we'll see what we hear from A&E in the days to come.
So then it's not necessarily, I mean, even though the debate, I thought it was a fascinating debate.
I'm kind of glad it happened for some reason.
Yeah,
even though it did upset people.
Of course, and I can totally understand how what he said offended many people, but I thought it was an interesting debate to have. I thought it reminded people that there are people who have different points of view, and it created a discussion.
Then his views are shared by millions of people. On the other hand, so are GLAAD's and other gay rights and civil rights groups. It's going to be interesting what these PSAs are going to look like. They say they're going to film public service campaign around unity, tolerance, and acceptance among all people. That's not what comes to mind when people think of Phil Robertson. So we'll see how A&E is able to straddle that line.
But